over Folly Beach. Shrimp boats rocking just out of reach. Marsh grass swaying like it knows my name. Same old river, but it ain't the same. Spanish moss in a live oak tree. She's barefoot dancing right next to me. Got a Dixie cup full of Tennessee gold and a story that her daddy told. We ain't in no hurry, baby, let it roll like the tide coming in on a Carolina soul. Yeah, living on low country line, salt in the air and whiskey on ice. Girls that smile like a summer night under those Charleston lights. From the backwoods deer stand on to a dock where the redfish run. Yeah, we don't need much to feel just right, just a little love and Saturday night. Palmetto moon in the shotgun sky, dove blind waiting as the birds fly by. Camouflage and a thermos cup, cold morning air gonna wake you up. Downtown King Street neon glow, she laughing loud at a country show. Got sand on boots from Sullivan Shore, says she ain't leaving, wants a little more. Every mile marker down Highway 17 feels like a memory wrapped in gasoline. We're living on low country line, salt in the air and whiskey on ice. Girls that shine like a harvest moon, singing every word out of tune. From the pine woods to the ocean side, we run these roads like a rising tide. Yeah, we don't need much to feel just right, just a little faith and a Friday night. Cypress knees and Carolina rain, football lights and a freight train. From Columbia down to Beaufort town, you can feel that heartbeat in the ground. Raise it up for the old homestay, for the ones we love and the ones we wait for. Every backward memory made in the life where the good Lord stay. We're living on low country lines, whiskey burning, sweet tea wine. Girls that love like a hurricane, but kiss you soft like summer rain. From the deer woods to the Attic blue, there ain't no place like me and you. Yeah, we don't need much to feel just right, just South Carolina and a Saturday night.
You're listening to the House of Cards on Facebook, YouTube, and BigPatriotRadio.com. All licenses for music and content have been purchased by and are for the express use of the Big Patriot Radio networks. All information, opinions, and topics are for entertainment purposes and do not expressly represent the opinions of the show's host and or producer. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Introducing to you. You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down now.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
And good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming in. It is the 14th of May. I feel like I just said it was the 14th of April. Wow, we're already half done here in May. I'm Mike Covert coming to you live from the radio studios of the Big Patriot Radio BigPatriotRadio.com network here in the great state of South Carolina. I want to welcome everyone watching tonight on YouTube and Facebook, and to those listening around the world on BigPatriotRadio.com. Once again, thanks for joining in. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, be sure on your screens there, go ahead and hit the like and follow and subscribe and all that stuff. Share it to your friends. Subscribe to the page. That really helps us out a whole lot. And please go ahead and share this with your friends or those on your network. If you're listening on BigPatriotRadio.com, we thank you for listening in and hope you enjoy this evening. You can keep that icon. If you went to BigPatriotRadio.com, if you go in the upper corner, there's like 3 little dots, and you can click on that, and you can actually create an app, so to speak, on your phone, where you'll be able to hit that app at any time. It'll come up with our logo, and you can tune in to Big Patriot Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all around the world. Tonight's QR code, you see it over here. We're on a different side of the screen right there. That is to buymeacoffee.com. Hit the QR code. Go ahead, take your phone, take a little picture of it. And we really appreciate those folks who do that. Buymeacoffee.com. Your support is greatly appreciated. I want to thank those folks that have already done that. And this is super important. I always want to thank everyone that supports us. PB of Bluffton, Yahoozy 12, Any MOUSS Star, Imparto 523, BG. Thank you all for your support. Gemini 8224, Bob and Chuck 180. Let's see who else. CAD M17, Peter Cottontail 26. Thank you very much. And Cliff W53. Thank you for your support. You all are greatly appreciated. Again, just go to the QR code, click it with your phone at any time throughout the broadcast, or save it and go back later and do it. We appreciate it right here on Beaufort County's House of Cards and BigPatriotRadio.com.
Turn up the radio. Bringing you the best selection of hits for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right, let's just a quick reminder. Man, we got a show tonight. Holy cow. We've got like 3 segments and 5 people coming on. It's like Union Station almost. And our first guest, they're already back there in the green room. The snacks and beverages, the adult beverages are flowing, I hope. Everybody is comfortable. I can see them back there. They look a little nervous, especially you in the middle. Just calm down. Everything will be fine. It's lovely. It's lovely. Anyway, just a quick reminder. We'll get to that here in a second. If you'd like to have your business logo, name recognition on the election night show here on Beaufort County's House of Cards. That's right, election night, June 9th, I believe it is, for primary for both parties. We got a big show. We do it every year. If you want to have your business promoted, we have that opportunity. You can see up here, over here, one of our first ones, Sounds Better Now. I'll go into them a little bit later. We really appreciate them. They're sponsoring the election night. They're going to run a couple ads on BigPatriotRadio.com. We've got Uptown Auctions going to be coming on. Anyway, reach out to us on social media, or you can email me. Let's see if I've got that up here. Show you our... There's our email address. Reach out to us. Let me know if you would like to have your business on to help support the election night show. We're going to go probably from like 6:45 until we can't go anymore, until YouTube and Facebook kick me off or the thing is over with. There'll be plenty of coffee going on. Again, little plug for Buy Me a Coffee to keep us up and going in the throat well tuned. Ads start at $50. That's it. $50, $100, and I think it's $250. It's going to be awesome. Get in touch with us. Let us know if you'd like to have your business name and likeness shown all over the internet come election night.
You have an incoming transmission.
Drop the tailgate, y'all.
Your attention, please.
You're listening worldwide to DJ Magic Mike
We're going to have a good time.
on BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right, real quick, if you haven't heard by now, and some people haven't, I had some people asking, "Hey, can I volunteer for the candidate forum?" If you haven't heard by now, I want to make sure that you all hear it again here from the horse's mouth. The sheriff's forum that was to be presented by Beaufort County's House of Cards and Heather Rath Consulting has been canceled. It's been canceled. Doug Seifert's campaign pulled out of the event, notified us last weekend, or I think it was last weekend. Yes, after we confirmed it twice. The show was a go. Anyway, it is what it is. There's a lot of things being speculated out there. The point of it is it's off. So is what it is. Anyway, I would say that both just in case somebody wants to start running their mouth again. Both campaigns were notified twice. We moved the time and the date and the time and the date and the time and the place to satisfy everybody. But the campaign all of a sudden said that nobody told them. So my only advice to candidates is to be careful who's running your campaign, because it may not be in your best interest. Anywho, I do want to let you know about Sounds Better Now. Sounds Better Now. And those folks, let me see here. I may have to... Can I open this back up? I don't know if I can. Oh, my word. I'll have to figure that out. Sounds Better Now. These folks, you see their little icon up here. I have a bigger picture, but for some reason it's not coming up. These folks specialize in professional audio and video installations and repair. They offer services from simple speaker replacements to this high-tech integrated audio and video streaming projects, including custom video walls, which is altogether too cool, and displays. Sounds Better Now, servicing all over South Carolina, Georgia. Give them a call, 843-330-3124. That's 843-330-3124. All right, changing lanes right quick. The name of the show, Political Clubs versus Political Schemes of Some Parties. Interesting title. You may have said to yourself. And what that means, we must have lost internet for a split second because everything just stopped. What I wanted to say about that was, throughout American history, citizens have gathered in groups to discuss ideas, challenge leadership, hold public officials accountable. Sometimes those groups are formal political parties. Other times they are local civic clubs, grassroots organizations, constitutional groups, taxpayer associations, Republican clubs, Democrat clubs, liberty groups, issue-based organizations. They're all over the map. Regardless of the label, there is an important distinction worth discussing tonight. As a matter of fact, there are moments when political clubs, and I use that term in air quotes, political clubs provide better discourse, better candidate interaction, and better treatment of everyday citizens than some large political parties. Why is that? Have you ever noticed that? Why is that? Because clubs, and a club and a party in the political world, that's two different things. But because clubs are often built around participation, while parties become built around control. See the difference there? Clubs are built around participation. Parties are built around control. A political club at its best is local. Where the rubber meets the road, that is local. It's personal. It's made up of neighbors sitting across the table from one another, or, folding tables on the deck, town halls, restaurants, churches, community halls, VFW halls, whatever. Citizens can ask questions directly. Candidates shake hands directly. We saw this the other night. There is accountability because the people in the room are not anonymous donors or consultants. They are the voters. In a healthy political club environment, candidates cannot hide behind carefully crafted press releases or talking points when written by strategists hundreds or thousands of miles away. They're forced into something we lose today: genuine conversation. They must answer difficult questions in real time. They must defend their records. They must explain their positions. And perhaps most importantly, they must listen. One of the reasons we like doing this live is because it's not rehearsed. You don't get to hear from people that have had time to read the questions and think about it and form answers. No, it's live. It's raw, baby. That is something that many Americans feel it's been lost in modern party politics. Too often today, far too often, political parties operate like corporations. Messaging centralized. Debate discouraged. Loyalty is rewarded more than honesty. Loyalty is rewarded more than honesty. Citizens are treated not as participants in government, but as voting blocks to be managed every election cycle. Boy, does this sound familiar. A club atmosphere changes that dynamic. In a political club, disagreement is often tolerated better than inside the formal party machinery system. Citizens can debate policy without immediately becoming labeled disloyal. Boy, we've seen that. Independent thinkers still have a seat at the table. Questions are not viewed as attacks. Skepticism is not treated as betrayal. Again, boy, this sounds familiar. And that matters. That all matters in a constitutional republic. The founders themselves, we've said it many times, these folks were brilliant beyond brilliance. They warned against blind factionalism. Even though political parties eventually emerged, the principle remains relevant today. Government works best when citizens think independently rather than simply obeying political branding. A strong political club encourages candidates to earn support instead of assuming support. And citizens, this is something that I've tried to make so apparent here locally to our own different parties, but citizens notice the difference. People aren't stupid. When candidates attend local clubs, they stay afterward to answer questions, interact respectfully and responsibly with voters. People feel like they're being heard. Even those who disagree with a candidate often appreciate the openness. That kind of interaction restores trust. Restoring trust in the political process. What is one of the things that has lost trust? Well, besides county councils and town councils, it's the political body. Compare that to what many people experience with larger party structures. Larger party structures, a political party mechanism, that machine. Citizens sometimes encounter gatekeeping, check. Insider politics, check, check. Favoritism, check, check, check. Selective access, too many checks. Or leadership circles disconnected from everyday concerns, enormous amount of checks. Grassroots members may feel even ignored until election season arrives. It's like saying candidates only listen when it's election season because they're looking for money. Questions may go unanswered. Challengers may be pushed aside. Debate may be discouraged in the name of, here's the buzzword, unity. We're going to be unified, so we're not going to have debate. But we may go out and recruit Democrats. Anyway, I digress. Unity without discussion, though, is not healthy democracy. True civic engagement requires open discourse. It's okay not to believe 100% of the things I do, or he does, or she does, or he does. If you did, that's weird. Political clubs also tend to reward authenticity more than just polish. In a club setting, voters often care less about expensive consultants and more about whether a candidate can explain themselves honestly. And again, voters aren't stupid. People aren't stupid. The bullshit meter immediately goes off when we detect it. That's why some of the best candidate forums happen not at party headquarters, but at local civic organizations and independent political clubs. The atmosphere truly can be categorized as more human. Citizens are not rushed through scripted interactions. Candidates are not insulated by handlers. There's room for follow-up questions, room for disagreement, room for real conversation. And that benefits everyone. This is not for Republicans only. This benefits Republicans. It benefits Democrats. It benefits Libertarians. It benefits the Green Party. It benefits the Santa Claus Party. It doesn't matter. If you behave this way, it will benefit you. Another important point is clubs often preserve grassroots energy better than formal parties. Parties think they do, but the clubs often preserve it better. Parties inherently grow institutionalized over time. Institutions tend to, by what they are, to protect themselves. Clubs, however, are usually powered by volunteers who deeply care because it's in their community. They care about the issues affecting their community. They're closer to the people. They hear the local frustrations first at the water cooler or the email or next door or Facebook or around the corner or at the yard sale. They identify problems often, more often than not, long before party leadership, if they even do, acknowledge them. Grassroots connections create more accountability. Candidates who ignore citizens in club settings usually remember the experience quickly. Word spreads. This is something happening right now. You ignore the public clubs type setting, word's going to spread fast. Reputations are going to get tarnished. There is no giant communications department shielding them from criticism. And perhaps, maybe that's why some candidates avoid open forums altogether, because real discourse is unpredictable. Citizens might ask about taxes, transparency, ethics, spending, public safety, constitutional rights, development deals, conflicts of interest, broken promises. Hey, they're difficult conversations. I get it. Been there, but they're necessary conversations. And if you can't have that conversation, you probably shouldn't be running for office. Political clubs create environments where those discussions can happen openly, usually without any kind of problem. Now, don't get me wrong. No system is perfect. There is no one size fits all. Clubs can develop internal politics too. Been in those in the past and has seen, it's like a rust. It just, boom, takes over. They can become cliquish if they're too big, and if people aren't careful, you get these little cliques, usually in bigger. But overall, the structure of local political clubs tends to invite participation more than their centralized party counterparts. And participation, well, that's the lifeblood of self-government. The health of a republic depends, well, not merely on elections, but on ongoing civic dialogue between the people and those seeking the power. Again, we saw that last week where it won. Our first guest had one of those last week or this week. And we saw that the dialogue was civic 100% of the time. Citizens should never feel intimidated for asking questions. Think about that. And maybe this applies, maybe it doesn't. Have you gone to a political party meeting and wanted to ask a question and felt like there were 400 eyes looking at you like you're a dumbass, whether you are or not? Do you ever feel that way? But then go to a political club and you ask a question and your neighbor, hey, that's a good question. I feel that way too. What's up with that? Candidates should never view voters as an inconvenience. And political organizations should never forget that they exist to serve the people. This has been said here locally over and over and over and over. You exist to serve the people, not the other way around. In the end, the best political environment usually are those where transparency is welcomed, disagreement is tolerated, citizens are respected, and candidates are accessible. Far too often, not sure if this applies to you, wherever you're watching from, but it has happened where large political parties, they lose sight of that, where candidates aren't accessible, citizens aren't respected, disagreement is not tolerated, and transparency is spoken but not welcome. Again, political clubs, especially strong grassroots operations and organizations, they can restore that. Because when citizens gather freely, they ask hard questions and engage directly with candidates, democracy becomes less scripted and more authentic. And I tell you, authenticity is something Americans are hungry for right now more than ever.
You have an incoming transmission.
Drop the tailgate, y'all.
Your attention, please.
You're listening worldwide to DJ Magic Mike
We're gonna have a good time.
on BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right. Once again, I say we have a huge show tonight. Coastal Conservative Alliance coming on here in like 5 seconds. Joshua Hauer for County Council District 5. Surprise showing from Mark Lynch for Senate coming on. Our first guest is going to come on now. And, I usually have somewhat of a bio. Tonight, we're going to have 3 members who I'm going to say they run the organization here locally. Their story is a very interesting one. And their group is exciting. It is vibrant. It is energetic. It is everything I would like to see in a county political party, but it is everything Beaufort County does not have, in my opinion. I was at one of their events this week and thoroughly enjoyed myself. Everything I just said in that monologue was exactly how they do it. What started out as Cocktails with Conservatives has morphed into the Coastal Conservative Alliance. Please join me in welcoming, let me get my tabs over here, welcoming Lynn Fontaine, Mike Tunner, and John Zmarsley to the show. Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Hello. Let me, let's,
Scoot on in.
there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
I usually have applause, but I think I had an internet issue. My screen is stuck. I can't get to the applause. So everybody that's listening is unable to give applause tonight. How are you all?
We're great.
Good. Very good. Thank you.
Great to see you all. As I was saying, the event that you all had this past whatever day it was, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. Great time. It was the embodiment of everything I just spoke about. It was energetic. People weren't afraid to talk when they could get a chance to talk, because Tom was talky. But what a great time. What a great time. So I want to here with us, I'm going to start with Lynn. Lynn, you started this thing off as Cocktails with Conservatives. And that purpose, bringing this together, was for one thing that I understand, and that was you were looking for a way to bring conservatives together. Tell us about that moment when you decided, hey, let's start Cocktails with Conservatives, and it went from there.
Certainly. I actually started when I was the regional director for BCRP. Started doing it while I was in that position because it was a way to engage and connect conservatives with other conservatives. And it was a way to do it in a fun social atmosphere so that we weren't always talking politics. We were actually getting to know each other and then getting to know, let's see how it's fun to be with like-minded people. I mean, let's face it. So that's how that started. And then we started introducing the candidates, and then it really grew, and that's how it became the Coastal Conservative Alliance.
And tell me, when it became, why did you decide to change it from the Cocktails with Conservatives into a little more formal name?
Sure. Well, this was our train of thought, right? We started Cocktails with Conservatives. Then we did karaoke with conservatives. And then we were going to do cruising with conservatives. And always our goal was conservatives with candidates, for sure. So that was something that we were going to get to. And then it happened organically. It's election season. And most candidates want to get in front of everyone they can. And we were providing that platform. And we were getting attendees because we made the club fun, like you said the other night for Tom. Everybody there had a great time.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. One of the things I read in doing some work for this was something that you had said. You said that we, as in the three of you, have built this platform where candidates can speak directly to the voters. Three things: face to face, without filters, without barriers. That is kind of a cool little whatever form of speech that is. I'm not an English guy, but that's kind of cool. How did you get to that, or was that just a Lynn moment?
No, that was our format. Our whole format is that you have a social hour, and we always ask that the candidates show up for that social hour. And the candidate walks around the room. Sometimes they just stand where they are and everybody lines up to talk to them because everybody wants to have their, one-on-one with the candidate. Mm-hmm. And then we have where the candidate gives their presentation for 15, 20 minutes. And then we have our moderators, who are normally Melinda Tunner and Johns Marsley. And you really get to do a deep dive into what their platform is. Mm-hmm. So the candidate feels like they really got their point across, and the audience feels like they actually got to know the candidate. They go home having learned something.
How often do you all have quote unquote meetings? And I don't feel like that's a proper word to use, but how often do you get together?
Okay, we never have meetings. We never. Yeah. We have 2 to 3 events with candidates a week.
A week. Now,
I do an agenda. I send it to the guys. I send it to whoever the candidate is, and we go.
And when does that, do you start that in January, or is that just period? That's just, you always are doing that?
Oh, there's, that saying, every day shuffling. Every day we're scheduling new events. It's every day I get calls from candidates.
Wow. 2 or 3 a week. Now, I was going to mention some of this a little bit later when we got on some other questions. But if you're doing 2 or 3 a week, and this is a local club, mm-hmm. I mean, I would expect that most political parties would be doing that times 2. I mean, they are the party. Are they doing as many? I mean, how are you all? There's only so many candidates.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. I've been seeing that there are candidate forums all around the county, but to be honest, Mike, I'm so busy. I can barely tell you what we've been doing. Never mind what others are doing.
Gotcha. And how much does it cost to come to these events?
Nothing.
Oh, wow.
A lot of times we have complimentary appetizers. We normally have a cash bar, especially if it's a happy hour event. Mm-hmm. But no, it's nothing. And it's also, our club is free as well.
Unbelievable. And I've only been to one event, and it was this week. Is every event like that? I mean, there were people there that didn't think the same as others. As a matter of fact, there was a couple folks in the room from a different party who different political persuasion who were there watching, and this was a Tom Reitz event centered around him. But there was no animosity. There was no finger pointing. There was no meet me in the parking lot and we can talk about this. I mean, are they always like that?
Yes. Tom is such a likable guy. Anyway, I mean, so the crowd that comes, they're already in a good mood because it's Tommy. But we did have a Nancy Mace event. We had 175 people, and it went without a hitch. And we had audience. We opened the Q&A up to audience for what, 30 minutes?
Oh yeah, at least.
And it was awesome. And she stayed 30 minutes after that to talk to people who didn't get a chance to talk to her before. So yes, when you create a free-flowing forum like that, only good can come from it. Yes. Do you sometimes get your pontificators, if you will?
Yeah.
Yes. But again, they're lovable, likable, let them go.
What is your background, if you don't mind me asking?
I've been an event planner for a very long time.
You're perfect. You're perfect at this. That's why. I want to shift gears a second and go to Mr. Tunner. They call you the Trump guy.
I guess they do.
How long have you been wearing a Trump hat?
I wear either a hat or a shirt probably every day for the last 8 years.
How many hats?
Every once in a while, I'll show up without a hat, and people have no idea who I am because they haven't seen me with a hat on. So it's kind of funny, but it still happens. So,
wow. Tell us your story about how you got involved with Lynn and whether it was the cocktails version or the CCA version when all that happened. How did you get involved?
Well, prior to Trump's election, I started doing Trump rallies. I had 3 car events. I had 3 boat events. We did 10 flag waving events at Auto Pro on the island. And people started showing up, and Lynn showed up at every one of those. John showed up at every one of those. We did have anywhere between 30 to maybe 60, 70 people would show up to those. I had the good fortune of someone actually called me up and said, hey, I can bring the Trump bus on the island. And honestly, I almost hung up on them because I thought they were lying to me.
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, they actually knew the person who had the Trump bus. So I reached out to Lynn, and she says, let me get a hold of Nancy Mace. I'll take care of that. And you just figure out how to get all these people here. Well, fortunately, we ended up when Nancy was there were actually 6 sheriffs that showed up to escort her.
Wow.
And we had over 300 people there, to watch her. And throughout that day, we ended up with over 500 people. It was a big day. But, I actually made 17,000 phone calls for Trump for the PPP. Out of that, I actually talked to 925 people. Mm-hmm. So that's how I knew he was going to win in South Carolina. But I followed Trump for 30 years. I watched every apprentice he ever did, listened to every time he was on Howard Stern. I listened to every one of those. So I've been a big fan, always have been. So,
how did you get into the CCA? Were you original founder, or did you come after? How did you fit in?
Well, it's one of those things. Like I said, it's interesting because we would do these different flag waving events and different things, and Lynn and I would coordinate together, and it was just a natural progression. It's like nobody cared about who was doing what. We just wanted people to show up for Trump. That's all that mattered. That's the only thing we cared about. And it was just organic. We work very well together. She's more of the front person versus I'm the back end type person. Mm-hmm. It's like the first flag event that I did. I mean, I actually went out and bought 12 Trump flags, made polls and everything for it.
Yeah.
I had no idea who was going to show up, and thank God I had 12 flags because I'm the only one who brought the damn flags. But we had 30 people there, so It was fantastic. But again, it was just very natural for us together. Like I said, when we did that, the Mace or the Trump bus event, that was a big day, and we just worked real smooth with it. Auto Pro did a great job. They actually catered the events, paid for it, and it was a big fundraiser for a community. So it really worked out well. It's just very natural. And then, like I said, John was always there. And then the 3 of us just kind of naturally just got together as we started doing these cocktails for conservatives because again, people wanted to be there. They wanted to hang out and talk to one another, and that's what we do. It just works.
Did you find that, when it went or morphed, I guess, from a Trump centered vision to local and state and regional, did you find that was an easy addition or transition, or were you still primarily focused on what you had been doing, which was, to get Donald Trump elected?
Well, it's interesting because it was a natural progression, but all those people, the majority of people that work with us, are MAGA type folks. So really all roads lead to Trump, no matter how you do it. So
Right.
we're just trying to get the people in. We're trying to find the people who are running, who are actually want to do what Trump does,
Mhm.
not the establishment. We are not, I am definitely an anti-establishment type person. So that's what we're trying to do, is to find people to come in. And because we've done over 30 events with candidates, we've been able to see them 2, 3, and 4 times. So you really get to find out who they are and what's going on. It's like last night we had David Pasco
Mhm.
come into Palmetto Hall, and we had about around 70 people were end up showing to that, and it was a good solid event. He spends a lot of time with people, and that's what we found is the candidates do that.
Yeah.
They really enjoy being with people, and because we don't charge them to be there, so it's refreshing for them. We have sponsors that help us out at different times. It just works.
And what is your background, Mike?
I actually worked, my background, it was in sales,
Mhm.
way back when, because I worked for the Allstate Insurance Company. So I was the guy who would go out and recruit Allstate agencies as independent contractors, then help them set up their businesses.
Mhm.
I mean, way back when I did a lot of telemarketing back in the old days when all you had was the phone book. So that's what my friends just laugh at me now when I told them I made 17,000 calls for Trump, because
That was
that's
nothing
just,
for you.
I've done that for my whole career. So
You see,
it was a natural progression.
I'm seeing how this is starting. A world-class event planner. We got a world-class telemarketer sales guru. This is starting to, and we get to John here in a minute. We're going to see the total thing. A couple of things I want to bring on to you. A lot of our viewers popping on here. In Nancy Pardo saying she loves you guys. I want to show Beth Gillespie. Thanks for coming on. She says it's a wonderful group. The three of you do a great job. She's glad to be a part of this group. I hope y'all can see this on your screen.
Mhm.
So many candidates come and have spoken, and she is a candidate here in Beaufort County. She wants to thank you for your work. And also, there we go, Nancy. Never felt warm fuzzies at the BCRP like I do with Coastal Conservative Group. I will have to say, after this Monday or Tuesday or whatever day, I guess it was Tuesday. I agree. I agree. Want to turn to John and John Zmarsley. What would you say is how did you get in? How do I want to word this? How did you get into the CCA? What led you to it? And your story, I think, is an interesting one because you were pretty well, I don't want to say embedded, but you were pretty well solid at the county level, if I can say that, if that's proper.
Mhm.
Tell us how, the Zmarsley story.
Yep. So I moved here in 2006, and I really had no intention of getting into politics. I was a conservative, and I moved here because it was a red state, like many folks did. But when the pandemic hit, the mandates locally as well as nationally really stuck to my craw. So that's how I started to get really involved in the local side of politics. I had heard about the precinct strategy and getting involved with the local party. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. So I became I went to one of the reorgs, quickly became an executive committeeman, and started to work in the party and trying to understand the process and how it all worked. Well, as I moved on into that realm, I realized soon that it really wasn't what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. And as you already heard and what you saw this week, I was kind of a mosquito to a light bulb, right? I was attracted to these folks because of the energy and bringing people together.
Yeah.
Like-minded folks to share their experiences and work to make a better place, the Low Country we all fell in love with. So I became disillusioned by that, and I moved on. And Lynn and Mike were talking about an idea they had to, with the Cocktails for Conservatives and morphing that into something bigger. And I just kind of jumped onto that, just like I said, a mosquito to a light. I was attracted to it, and as you can see, it's very successful because most people like positive vibes, want to learn. They don't want to be told how to vote or what to do. They just want to make their own informed decision. And that's what Lynn and Mike created. So that's how I got involved.
You're a business owner, right?
Yes, I am.
So, your perspective, is your perspective on things on a analytical level, or what level with CCA do you see yourself, I don't want to say being a part of, but what part are you in the trifecta here? So
in my experience, I became very knowledgeable with local politics. So I know a lot of people, and I've been here a very long time. So even folks who don't like to be involved with politics, they know politics. So you really get informed with the locals who just want to share stories about people they know and how it came to be and so on and so forth. So I'm able to share that experience with Lynn and Mike and the group. But to your point, the analytical side, Mike, I was doing some quick numbers here. We can approximate there's about, I don't know, say 30,000 Republicans in Beaufort County. And we currently have about 7% of that total amount in Lynn's membership. And our objective is to get them all. So we're trying to build that membership so we get every conservative in Beaufort County to get them informed and get them educated. And so ultimately that's the goal. And that's what I'm helping you do. We have the greatest party planner on earth here and a sales marketing guru. So, I mean, it's a win-win-win.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I figured this out very quick. This is you all have got a great, like I said, like you just said, from the event planner to the marketing expert and the analytics. I mean, you all have just set up a great company, quote unquote. But do you see, do you see yourselves as in competition with the party, or are you, you're just something extra? Where do you fit? Where does a local club like this fit in the scheme of things? I mean, there's no secrets here. People that watch the show know I have some very, very well-defined hardcore issues with our county party. But when it comes to the CCA, how do you fit into this? What is the plan there?
If I may, I'll field that question. Very well. We fit very well. If you are a politician and you are running for office, you have two lanes. You have the BCRP lane and you have our open lane. And our like Mike said, he loves his non-establishment candidates, but he also knows we have all of them. We have establishment, non-establishment, MAGA only, people who like Hillary. I'm sorry, Haley.
Yeah,
Nikki Haley. So we're just wide open, but use us both. There is no competition. We're both heading to get the vote out. Isn't that what we're doing? Just trying to get people to vote, get them engaged, keep them engaged.
Do you see the whoever wants to answer this? Obviously, well, not obviously, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that your membership is steady rising. Is Republican membership, is it steady rising in Beaufort County, or has it hit a plateau? Where do you feel that's at? I would think you have a pretty good grasp on that number.
We have definitely grown. We continue to grow all the time. I mean, it's like we're just working harder, quite frankly. We've done over 30 events for candidates, and I think the other group has only maybe done 4 or 5. We want to give people the choice. We brought people in, 3, 4 times. Not just once, but 3 or 4 times, so you have the ability to see them at different venues. And again, as time goes on, some people change a little bit. Some get a little more polished. Some don't. But we've never told anybody no. Unfortunately, other folks, tell people no, they won't let them in. We've let everybody in, and we believe that. So it's, it's whatever you decide on. People ask me all the time who I prefer type thing, and I say, it's not about me. It's whatever whatever you want to do. God love you. Vote for whoever you want to. We just want to get you in front of people so you make the decision. It's your decision, not ours.
You made a good point there. Something you just said, and it reminds me. Speaking of, everybody, you want to hear from them all, which is something that I've always said that, the voters need to be able to hear from any and everybody that wants to throw their hat in this ring. Several months ago, there was a big deal. And I got involved in it because I thought it was wrong when the county party and David Pasco, they didn't want him in, and it went right up the food chain, and now they've got to let him on the ballot, supposedly. How do you feel? How Republican do you have to be on a Republican ticket? Is there a litmus test for that?
For us, there is. And that is, if South Carolina says you get to run as a Republican, then you get to run as a Republican.
Yeah, it's their responsibility to vet the Republican candidates, right? I mean, they say they're Republican. That's not our jurisdiction. That's their lane. We stay out of that lane. We're simply opening up the platform for those Republican candidates, whoever they are, to speak. And to have open discussions with the folks that are our members. Simple as that.
Awesome. Yeah. We're coming down to the end of our time. I wanted to open it up to you guys and ma'am to tell anything else about the CCA and your events and what you do. Anything else that our viewers need to hear about this fantastic group?
Yes, sir. This is a perfect segue. We just finalized today a Congressional District 1 debate.
Wow.
Yes. So we have 4 out of the 6 top ranked candidates. Okay. 2 of them are unable to come. That would be Jenny Honeycutt, Sam McCowan. However, we have Mark Smith, Alex Palbath, Jay Byers, and we've got Logan Cunningham. And our plan, our venue is confirmed. It's Hilton Head Island Beach and Tennis. We'll have the large conference room.
Right.
And that'll be on May 28th. And it'll start at 6 p.m. Awesome. We're having a meeting. We have a special moderator, and then we'll have 2 panelists. And of course, our political guru will be on the panel along with someone else.
As always.
Awesome. That is going to have a flyer coming out about that.
Oh, yes.
That is fantastic. What else? John, anything you'd like to add about CCA?
No, I think the growth that we're seeing right now, the rapid growth, is going to continue, especially after the primary. If we know we're going to have runoffs, so we're going to be even busier than we are now. The one thing that makes us so nimble is there's just the 3 of us. We have no board. We have no group of people that ruminate over what we should do. We just jump on it. And that nimbleness gives us the ability to help candidates. Because as you know, they're always on the trail. They're looking for some place to speak. They may have an opening come up, and we're available. And that's what we're seeing. And we're excited about it. We're having fun.
That is awesome. Having fun, doing good stuff. I mean, this is great. The Coastal Conservative Alliance, you guys are just awesome. I'm glad to call you friends, and you're doing great work for Republicanism, the Republican Party, conservatism, whatever you want to coin it. You guys are doing a great job.
So are you.
Yes. Thank you, Mike.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
you all being a big part of the show, your support, and keep me in the loop. I look forward to being able to come out to one of your events again very soon. Coastal Conservative Alliance, ladies and gentlemen, John Marsley, Mike Tunner, Lynn Fontaine, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
You have an incoming transmission.
Drop the tailgate, y'all.
Your attention, please.
You're listening worldwide to DJ Magic Mike
We're gonna have a good time.
on BigPatriotRadio.com.
All righty. Boy, I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed going to that event. I guess it was Tuesday. I don't know. The days kind of run together. If you get the chance and you're in the Bluffton, Beaufort, Hilton Head area, you get the opportunity to go to a Coastal Conservative Alliance gathering. I mean, seriously, it doesn't cost you anything. Take a couple hours, go to it. Just, you don't need to say anything. Just, I'm telling you, just feel the difference. It's just something there. It's just a difference that you, and now, granted, I knew 90% of the people there, you might not, but I'm telling you right now, they won't make you feel like you've got, snot running out your nose. You're going to be welcomed there. All right. 8:00 coming up. Our next guest is backstage. We're going to bring him. He is also a county council candidate. Joshua he's a veteran of the Delaware National Guard. He is also a digital product owner. He's known for his work digging into details on infrastructure, growth, local economy, local government, coordinated across all over the Low Country. He is running for County Council District 5. That's a relatively large district by area, encompassing part of Sun City, all the way running north along 170 through Kalawasi, Chechesi, across two bridges into the northern part of the county, and part of Burton. So I'd like join me in welcoming to the show. See if I can find everything here. Mr. Joshua Howard to the show. Joshua, how are you?
I'm good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come on here. Tell everybody, is this your first time running for office?
So, yeah, first time running for office. I was briefly on my board of directors of my local HOA. Had a good run there, but this has definitely been a learning experience. This is my first time getting into the political space.
Good. And what made you, what made you decide? What was the catalyst for you to say, you know what, I think I need to jump in this county council thing?
So probably twofold. First was originally I'm from Delaware, moved down about 4 years ago with my wife. We had the opportunity during COVID to work remote, and we decided, hey, we don't really like living up here. Let's move somewhere that's kind of more aligned with our values and the way we want to live life. We've been coming down here for over a decade, and just this area in Low Country, it's beautiful. Decided to put down roots here. One of the commitments we made to each other when we were coming down here was we wanted to be involved. We didn't want to just let things pass us by. We didn't want to just let the politicians do what the politicians do. So my original goal wasn't actually to run for county council several years ago, but as we got down here, as we noticed the infrastructure issues, the rapid growth, I was seeing a lot of parallels between what my hometown looked like 20 years ago and what it looks like today. And I kind of got concerned that was going to happen to this area, specifically District 5, 170, 278. Mm-hmm. So I decided, well, why not? I'll give it a shot. I'll put my hat in the ring, take a look at it, see what I can do. Really just wanted to be involved and wanted to make a difference.
Married, children?
Married, no children yet.
No children. Okay. So you own a business, or did I say that wrong?
No, don't own the business. I actually work for a national wholesale insurance brokerage.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's an IT job. Realistically, what I do is I gather a bunch of requirements. I work with a bunch of different departments, partner vendors, and processing teams, and I make sure that our systems work the way they're supposed to.
So in doing some homework, I mean, I see you've spoken in front of county council before. And I think some other groups, I don't remember which ones, but you're not walking into this blind. Is there, if you took a list of, hey, these are, and your district is very interesting because you cover, you're half of the road on the other county, so you only got one side of it. There's a lot of farmland. There's a lot of very affluent markets in your district, and there are some places, especially north of the Broad in your district, that are having a rough time, and have historically had a rough time. What are the, if you had to say, there's a handful of things, this, and this, and this, that District 5 is needing, what would those things be?
Yeah, I would really default to kind of the three items that I've really been running on, which is infrastructure, government transparency, more so in the fact that the municipalities and the county government need to work better together. What we've seen over the last several years, specifically in the unincorporated parts of District 5, has really been, our parcels have been a dumping ground for different projects, different developers, different things that they've wanted to bring to the table to get some of those infrastructure dollars. Like you said, it's a lot of rural space. We do have some condensed populated areas, some private communities, but there's a lot of rural space. And what we want to do is protect that. So I would say that's probably first foremost is dealing with the infrastructure issues, the utility constraints, the roads, 170 specifically, getting traffic through that area without really getting bogged down. The law enforcement center is something that I've had my eye on for the last couple of years. I know that the county's purchased the cooler track. They have pretty much everything ready to go. They just need to get funding. So one of the things I've really been digging into and researching is grant programs and different ways that we could approach that. And I think that would actually help some of the issues that Burton has had, because having that centralized law enforcement presence and emergency response services would give the county, make them more efficient at responding to issues instead of having to have all of their different areas scattered across like they currently do.
So let's take a couple of those. One is infrastructure. Part of your district is already clogged, that 170 corridor from the Broad River Bridge to McGarvey's Corner. That is just one clogged up mess. How does Beaufort, I guess, first of all, let me say, are you a let's add a sales tax kind of guy? Is that yours? How do you solve it?
I'm not an arbitrary add a sales tax kind of guy. I'm much more of a lower taxes when you can, increase efficiency. A lot of this has been a learning opportunity for me. So I'm really trying to dig into the weeds and really get familiar with that. I think that having that sales tax increase may be appropriate depending on what it accomplishes, what it's scoped out for, making sure that we're actually getting vendors that are going to complete the projects on time and on schedule. We're not going to run into an inflationary cycle like we did with the last set of projects. What I'd like to really see on 170 is a better use of technology. There's a lot of programmatic lights that you can install. There's key widenings. Instead of trying to widen the entire length of 170, which you just put in more water down the garden hose, it's not going to actually solve the problem. Taking those intersections where those main issues are actually happening, the fender benders during the on season, the 4 lanes of left-hand turn crossings, widen those sections, make those intersections smarter, and then chain all of the lights together so that the lights are smarter. So you actually move traffic instead of trying to time it specific ways and specific times and trying to get certain areas. Like one of the big issues that we've run into, specifically in my neighborhood in Malin Bluff off of 170, we only have one light, and that's through another neighborhood and out of Oakady Elementary to get onto 170 to take a left-hand turn.
Mhm.
And then across from us is a business park that has a lot of traffic coming in and out and heavy equipment. So you try to have heavy equipment coming out in the morning, all of the people commuting to school or work in the morning, they're bottlenecking 170 because they're trying to get across. So you need to have intersections that are smart enough to direct traffic and get people in and out of those communities, because whether we like it or not, they're already built, they're already there. So they've got the volume, and we need to be able to handle it.
Let's talk about that law enforcement center that you had mentioned. I believe the price tag that I saw in it last was like $125 million. Where do we find that money, and what's the best way to go about getting that money if we can't find it?
The best way to go about getting the money if we can't find it is going to be federal grants. So I was talking to a few people. One of them was the community liaison for the airbase. And one of the things that they brought up to me, which I thought was a fantastic idea, they have an ESIP program, which is a federal grant program. They can be awarded up to $40 to $50 million if we add in capacity for specific security concerns that the military is concerned with, one of those being drones. So if we dedicate a certain amount of space to a drone operations center, we would be eligible to hit pretty high on that grant program, as I understand it. So that would significantly reduce the spend to the county to get that complex built.
You see, that's some of the out of the box thinking that I believe this county firmly needs. It's funny that you mentioned that ESET program. They're currently, the sheriff's department is trying to, I don't know how many $1 million. They want to buy another helicopter and retrofit this one. All I see is dollar bills flying around and I'm not shooting. That's not a good word. I'm not downplaying the helicopter program. I just think we have, with today's technology, how about a drone program for the sheriff's department? Nobody's life is at risk because they're not two people flying. It's a hell of a lot cheaper. I can buy a badass drone for $5 million, like they want to buy a helicopter, whatever. Those kind of things, I think, thinking out of the box, what you're talking about, are things that are going to turn this county, turn it around. Let's talk about spending. While you've been looking, and I get it, you can only look at an arm's reach. You can't get but so close. With the county, how comfortable are you with the current spending of the county, or does that need some major work?
I was just looking into the millage rates. I actually had someone reach out and ask some really nice questions about some of the kind of lawsuits and the spending that seems to be a little extraneous with the county right now. And I'm working on getting that answer back to him. So if he's watching, hopefully he doesn't think I forgot about him.
Yeah.
The spending, I understand the goal, and I think that the current council is doing what they need to do in the short term to try to keep the millage rate flat. When you talk about keeping the millage rate flat, you also have to realize, though, that when properties get assessed at a higher value, you've got more turnover, higher principal price for homes. The tax base that those homes are going to get rated against for the millage actually goes up because their principal is higher. So even though the county is not increasing the millage to get more revenue, they're still taking in $3 to $4 million more year over year just from the increase in property values that we've been seeing. So I would like to see that spending actually reduced. So instead of just bringing the budget up to the next level of the money that you're getting into, and what I've seen historically, I actually worked a state job in Delaware when I was 18, 19 years old. And I used to see them, when we have a budget, we have to spend our budget or we'll lose it and we won't get it next year. So there's this mentality in governmental work and in state agencies that I've seen kind of repeat, where they have to spend the budget and then they get rewarded for spending the budget by getting the same budget the next year. So what I would like to see is I'd like to see some actual reduction in spend. Some, hey, we don't actually need this much money. It's a hard conversation to have. It's a hard problem to solve. But that my stance is more so, instead of trying to just focus on not increasing taxes and millage rate, I'd like to see us reducing the expense that these different departments are actually accruing each year.
Let's talk about one of the things that people in this county, you hear it daily, positively or negatively, and that is growth. In your opinion, from what you've seen, and if Josh Hauer is on county council, does growth need to? Are we at a time where, until infrastructure gets up to snuff, we need to put a moratorium on growth, for a predetermined amount of time? What's your thoughts on that? And you're on both sides of the Broad River, so you got two different dynamics to work with here. Lucky you. But what do you say to that?
I think it's a great point. I think it's challenging. Growth. So I have been looking into this a little bit. The moratorium specifically, this was something that I had actually originally brought up to the county council when we were fighting some upzoning battles happening in our area. Mm-hmm. And this was 2022 through 2024, basically. And that's a lot of what those reels are of me speaking is talking about those specifically. The moratorium has a specific requirement, as I understand it, from the state level. Buford Jasper Water, I was actually just talking to their government official Wednesday. Had lunch with him, and he kind of laid it out really well. So perfect kind of preface into this. They have a requirement based on how they were formed that they have to serve the county. They cannot be the reason why there's a moratorium. And the state requires that your infrastructure utilities say that they can't actually handle the growth before you can put a moratorium in place. So my thinking currently is something similar to what Senator Tom Davis has been proposing, which is a concurrency plan. And a concurrency plan really just means we have an additional checkbox that we have during an application for development. And that checkbox is you have to go get approval, or the county staff has to get approval from the different utility companies that development considered in the larger development across the county will not adversely impact the utilities. And there'll be carve outs for certain things like affordable housing and some other things. That'll take a lot of discussion. So I don't have all that ironed out. But realistically, what that looks like is you submit an application for a development project, you go get this concurrency certificate, and it's either approved or denied. If it's denied, your application doesn't go forward. You don't go to planning commission, you don't go to land use, you don't go to county council. If your certificate is accepted, then it goes through the process as normal. So it's just an additional check, which really puts a hard limit on how we can impact infrastructure, utilities, and all the things, public service, emergency services that we all rely on every day.
Let me ask you about, since you mentioned the water authority, water and sewer authority, there's just the other day in the paper, in the media, they had a 70,000 gallon sewer line break, spillage, if you will, in Council District 6. Along 170. I don't remember how many months ago it was, but there was if memory serves me, it was like 100,000 gallon sewage break somewhere around here on this side of the river. I was talking to someone the other night at that event I was at, and they were asking me that, have we reached a tipping point with Buford Jasper Water and Sewer Authority? They're great people. I know them all, know them well. They're fine people. But maybe, has anybody ever thought, or have you thought of this? Are we at a tipping point where maybe the state delegation needs to get involved, that maybe they can't handle where we are at 200,000 plus people and growing? I mean, there are countless, I think it's 30 some thousand already approved building plots in this county, not to mention Jasper, that they also serve. But have we reached that point where maybe, a serious conversation needs to be had? Maybe this is part of our infrastructure problem.
I'm just thinking a little bit on that one, but I do like the question, because I actually had a harder opinion on this before I talked to him. He really did lay it out pretty well. They just recently finished a project where they increased their capacity. I believe he said it was another 24 million gallons. They are looking into adding a new remediation tool. It's some kind of cleaning filter. I think he said that project was going to be about $125 million. So they're looking into that. What I do see opportunity in for them is to have assistance from the county in grant writing and getting approval for federal and state grants. I don't think it's a bad thing to engage the state and really just kind of do a general audit and make sure that they are kind of up to speed on the servicing. We're getting everything handled the way that we need to. But from what was explained to me and some of the material that they gave me the other day, I think they've really gotten with the program the last couple of years, and I think they are making the changes needed to support the infrastructure. It's just, how do we go about making sure and managing the growth so that we're not outpacing their development? Because from what I understand, there's only two ways that they can get money or generate revenue to fund these projects, and there's capacity, which is money that they get from the developers. When they actually go, they have a per gallon per home rate that they charge developers to enhance these projects. And then there's rate that they charge the consumer, which is all of us. So we don't want them to get into a position where they've got to offset their costs by going and charging more rate to the consumers. We want to get this handled as much as possible through state grants, federal grants, or capacity planning through the developers.
I think that with BJWSA, they also have the ability to come directly to the county, which they do, for some type of funding, as well as the state grants, CDBG grants, and things of that nature. It's a very interesting chicken and egg scenario, which brings me to, I want to talk about economic development. I came here from somewhere else. You came here from somewhere else. By the way, thank you for your service. Most people that we talk to, I bet in Malin Bluff, probably all of them, all of your neighbors came here from somewhere else. Economic development is an interesting phrase for Beaufort County. Right now, the Economic Development Corporation is going through some tough times. In my opinion, they need to be disbanded. We need to save that $200,000+ a year salary to the director and untold amount, the rest of it, and just continue to pay the $120,000 to the SCA, the Southern Carolina Alliance, who is doing the economic development discovery anyway. I want your opinion when it comes to economic development, not economic growth. That's two different things, but economic development. How much does Beaufort County need to really, spend? And I'm not looking for a dollar, but how much do we need to really push on attracting economic development when, Josh, between you and I haven't seen a fewer number of people getting off exit 8 in my 30+ years being here. They're still coming. Do we need to be spending a lot of money to attract when they're still coming?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question because we're a tourist economy. There has been a lot of growth with kind of full-time residents and people like us who've come from other states and have come down here. I work remote, and I think most of my neighbors that I've talked to have come from other locations. They work remote or they pick up a job down here. Economic development, I'm a little torn because I do like the concept of things. Like what I would like to see is I think trades have been undervalued, and I think that we've got a lot of issues there. I'd love to see more trade schools. I'd love to see more public opportunities for people to learn skills and get into those kind of jobs that we need. I'm not familiar enough with what the current economic development group is doing, so I'd really like to take a look at that. But if they're not providing the value that we're paying for, I mean, it kind of boils down to general business sense. If you're not getting a return on investment, you shouldn't be spending the money on it.
Outstanding. Last thing, I'm sure you've got a list of things. If you've got a room full of several hundred people right now watching, actually more than that. But anyway, your elevator speech, why should all of us pull that lever for Josh Hauer for County Council District 5?
really, I think it boils down to I want to do the job because I want to make the county better. I want to protect what makes the Low Country special. I want to protect Beaufort County, north and south of the Broad. I have the skill set. I have the desire to do the research, to spend the time, to come up with those creative solutions, to deliver results, and that's what I plan to do. So if you want someone who's willing to put in the time and effort, willing to do the research, has several plans already, then I think I'm a great choice for your candidate for District 5.
Outstanding. Do you have a lot of things planned, meet and greets or whatever you got going? I don't know if you and your opponent are having any kind of forums or anything, but is there a lot of, I see your signs everywhere, even over where I live, I see your signs. So your name is out there. Great sign. Whoever did that was smart. Howard. That's it. That's all they get. You got 3 seconds. And I remember a white sign with red letters, Howard, isn't it? Isn't it a white sign with red letters?
Yep. Yeah, you got it.
You got 3 seconds. Boom. All the other jibber jabber is jibber jabber. All you want people to know is Howard. Why do I know that name? I don't know, but I see it here. Let's check it. Anything you got coming up in the neighborhood before we, election day is coming up here in, under a month now.
Yeah. It's been a kind of a whirlwind. I'm also just closed on a new house, so I'm moving around. So I'm trying to get all that organized. I am going to the BCRP Get Out the Vote event on Sunday.
Right. Yep.
I don't have anything else currently. Oh no, I do have something planned. I've got a lunch on the 22nd over at Berkeley Hall with Blythe. Don't remember her last name, but I don't have a ton of events. I'm always looking for more events. So if anybody would like to either message me on Facebook, send me an email, I'm always willing to talk. I'll come to any event as long as I can make the schedule work.
Facebook page is Joshua Howard for County Council, I believe, isn't it?
I think it's Joshua Howard for Beaufort County Council.
Beaufort County Council. All right. Folks, there he is. He's running for County Council District 5. There is no incumbent in this race. Just Josh and his opponent coming up on June 9th. That is the Republican primary. You can see him this weekend, and it is Sunday, right?
It is Sunday, yep.
At the Beaufort County Republican Party Get Out the Vote event over in, they call it Ridgeland, but it's really Okatee, right off 170, right across the street from this man's district at the GOP headquarters. Josh, thank you so much. We want to have you back on here in the very near future. Joshua Howard, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Bringing you the best selection of hits for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
BigPatriotRadio.com.
Yeah, Nancy just chimed in on something. She's telling Josh, get on with Coastal Conservative Alliance, Josh. She's giving you that heads up. That's a good idea. All right, it is 8:23. Let's see. We're supposed to have Senate candidate Mark Lynch coming on. Let's do a check of things here to see if anybody has checked in. We'll look for him here in a second. If not, we'll get on to our next thing. Hang tight here a second. I'll reach this out to his campaign staff. Lord only knows where they are. But we sent that out to them, and we'll get them on here in just a second. Until then, let me go in here. Let's see. I do want to let you know that we have, let me change this a little. We do have multiple candidates coming up in the next few weeks. So be sure to tune in and just stay in tune with things. Let's see, who do we have coming on? We may have to do a taped show. I hope not, because I like doing the live. We have Tom Reitz is going to be coming on. That is next week. Joe Mariano, he's the opponent in District 5. He's going to be coming on. Let's see, Doug Seifert. We're still trying to get the other sheriff's candidate to come on. Next week, we do have JoJo Woodward for sheriff. We'd like to get Doug Seifert on here as well. Every single day, we send text, we send emails, we send Facebook whatever you call them, messages. No response. Logan Cunningham, we've been talking with him, trying to get that worked out. I just spoke to Nancy Mace this evening and her folks this evening. We're trying to get that one worked out. That's going to probably have to be a taped one, just because of her schedule in Congress and running for governor. Pamela Yvette was supposed to come on the show during the whole South Carolina state thing. I think that's blown over and she's moved on to bigger and better subjects. We are also talking with the team at Rom Ready for Governor, trying to get Mr. Reddy on. Whew, a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's see. What else? We do have some stories, some upcoming stories you want to pay attention to. We got coming up. We have stories about the Beaufort County Treasurer's Office. And did you know that the county, Beaufort County, has spent over $700,000 in legal fees fighting the treasurer, who spent $70,000? I mean, the county has spent over 10 times what the treasurer has spent in fighting her. This is all over employees and who do they have to listen to? I understand she hires her own employees. She believes they work for her. She should be able to pay them what she wants to pay them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The county is saying, and this is all tongue in cheek, well, yes, they're your employees, your hires, but they're our employees, and they have to abide by the county employee manual in HR and all that. And there is having been there, I do see a fuzzy line, but that needs to be ironed out. And this spending spending our money 10 times worth, and we still have nothing worked out is ridiculous. What else? We have stories coming up on the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation. Recently, them and County Council had a square off. Citizen Graham Trask was right in the middle of it. And he's been saying out loud what we said here, and what a lot of folks have been afraid to say, that whole quiet part, that they should shut down the BCEDC. Save that money. John O'Toole, great guy, but he makes over $200,000 a year. Just him. And who knows what the other salaries are, plus expenses and blah, 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 plus $120,000 to the SCA, plus operating expenses. Just kill that. Just kill that expense line. Do away with that 200. It's obviously 300,000 plus. Just do away with that. And if you have to have, the efforts of an alliance or a group doing some kind of economic development on your behalf, the 120,000 to the SCA, which is, if you look at how the price structure is, that's a better deal because we are so big compared to the other six. Just have them do it, and they do a fine job. Matter of fact, the Danny Black, the executive director or CEO or whatever he is, I've known him forever, does a fine job, and he's about to retire. And former Jasper County administrator Andy Fulgham, who has been hired there, he's the COO. He'll take over, and he'll do a fine job. So, it was funny the other night at County Council. If you watch that, it was York Glover and Doug or Gerald Dawson or just I can't remember. But anyway, they were really upset that a lot of folks were saying, just get rid of this guy. And that the citizen came up and said, just get rid of this. It's a waste. You're wasting money. Anyway, also something, some things that are coming up. We've already started working on it. We heard about this 2 days ago, but it came out today officially that Beaufort County has terminated the employment status of the chief financial officer, Pinky Harriet, abruptly. Now, what we know is that Monday night at their caucus executive session, they were behind closed doors. The subjects were something about a whistleblower in management. There was something about Oh gosh, it was a whistleblower in management, some kind of management inconsistencies, and there was a third thing. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, it was definitely saying that something is going on. Now, there was nothing mentioning the CFO, but all of a sudden, the CFO gets fired. Now, there's some things that we've been doing a lot of digging, and some things that we can say and we'll tell you, and other things that we can't. But the Ms. Harriet has done nothing wrong. She's done nothing wrong. I would love to have Michael Moore or the chairwoman of county council come on here and let's talk about this. What has been going on? Why? What is it that came of the limelight to have her fired? Someone asked me earlier today, well, she's not an elected official, so it's none of our business. Well, it is our business because our money, our tax money, goes to pay the bill. And when you fire someone of that esteem, she's an award-winning chief financial officer. I mean, she's no dummy. She's very intelligent, matter of fact, award-winning, and you get fired like that. After just 2 nights before, there was this big executive session about a whistleblower and about a management concern and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it doesn't take long to figure this out and add this up. But I can tell you that she's done nothing wrong. And I think she and I have spoken. We've never met personally. I don't think. But I do watch the job, and she's done the job phenomenally. All right, one last check here. Let's see if Mr. Mark Lynch or his folks are out and about. Let's see here. Hang tight. We don't have anything. So apparently it's possible Mr. Lynch got tied up. And no worries. We will, it's election season, and we'll, do what we got to do to get him back on here. So, all right. It is 8:30. It is 8:30 here on Beaufort County's House of Cards. All right. It is, don't forget this week. We will be back right here live at 7. Tentatively, JoJo Woodward for sheriff and Tom Reeks for county council. Please check us out over here. Let's see, we're over here. Yep, there we are. Check us out over here. Take a picture of the QR code. That is buymeacoffee.com. I want to appreciate those folks who have already done that tonight. Wait a minute. Here we go. We'll put a pause. We do have someone entering the studio. Let's, I think Mr. Lynch is here. All right. Don't go anywhere. Let's, yes, he is in the back room. Hang tight here a second, and we'll bring him on. All right. I think Mr. Lynch is ready back there. Somebody can give me the nod, a thumbs up. There he is. All right. Surprise guest coming on this late edition. This gentleman's running for the United States Senate against, been on the bus a long time, the bumper sticker, Lindsey Graham. This gentleman, Mark Lynch, is president of Jeff Lynch Appliance in the upstate of South Carolina. We're under his leadership. We understand that the company has grown 35 times larger than it was at the time of its acquisition. If anybody's owned a business like Mr. Lynch or myself, and you grow, let's just say it 3 times, depending upon your revenue cycles, that's incredible. 35 times is unbelievable. That speaks volumes right there. He now ranks as one of the top 70 dealers. Mark Lynch has been a devoted husband for 37 years, father of 2, grandfather of 4. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Mark Lynch to the show. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you, Mike?
I am doing very, very well. I was about to sign off. I didn't know if you could make it, so I'm glad you caught me. It is a pleasure to have you on here. I know you were super busy. What part of the state are you in tonight?
We just finished a presentation in Pickens.
Pickens County.
Yes, sir.
That's a great corner of the world. A lot of jokes
here.
What's that?
They're solid red here.
They are. And your business is headquartered out of Greenville, right? Or is it Anderson?
Sir. Greenville.
Okay. Do you also cover I would imagine, the Pickens market?
Yes, we do business probably in about a 75-mile radius of our location.
Outstanding. Some of the questions I know you get asked every single day, beating you up one side and down the other. We don't get into a lot of that because we want to know, our thousands and thousands of viewers want to know really, what makes this guy or this gal tick. Successful businessman. I mean, I look up to you as far as business, as another businessman. You've grown it 35 times. That's unflipping believable. That says a lot. Grandfather, you got, father of 2 grown children, you got 4 grandkids. I'm right there with you. Why in the world would you want to take on the sewage pit of Washington, D.C. and try to wipe up what Lindsay's had a lot of years to mess up?
Yeah. I guess it goes back, Mike, just my knowledge of the deep state and working with a national security organization called Understanding the Threat, Fighting the Islamic Infiltration in America. I've been asked to run, and I was asked to run for a state Senate seat back in 2019. We decided on New Year's Day of 2020 that we would do it. My wife and I prayed about it, and several families and people in the legislature that knew me and had done background checks on me said, "You're the guy, and we need you to go to Columbia at that time." Mm-hmm. So I did. I ran. We lost by 5%. We formed a political organization to stay active and fight from the outside called the United Patriots Alliance. And we've done a lot of work getting rid of bad bills, helping the Freedom Caucus win, stopping McMaster's appointment of a health czar a year and a half ago. A lot of good things. And so people ask me a year and a half, 2 years ago, "When are you running again? We need somebody like you to run." And I said, "What would you have me run for?" And the governor got mentioned and the United States Senate position got mentioned. And then talking to our national consultant that's helping us in this campaign, he said, "You're a U.S. Senator guy. You're a fighter. We need to have you go to D.C. and remove Lindsey Graham." So we prayed about that again, and we decided to do it. And we're doing it for our grandchildren. We've all been blessed, and we've lived through a great country after the greatest generation. Both of my wife and my dad's, our dads were in the military and served, and they'd be rolling over in their graves right now if they could see what's going on in this country. So we've gotten in deep in the knowledge, and we're seeing what's going on in this country. And I can't, when I pass away and go to heaven, I don't want to hear Jesus say to me, "Why didn't you run?" Yeah. So it's a selfless sacrifice, and we're willing to do it. So we're answering the call of the people that know us, that think I'm the guy that can do it. It's an honor to be chosen to run. And so we're in it to win it, and we're making headway. And this has been an awesome grassroots movement across the state. And people are tired of Lindsey Graham. And a lot of people were skeptical. They're like, "How are you going to do this? He's a senior senator. He has millions of dollars." And I told them, our campaign owner, God, owns all the cattle of 1,000 hills, and whatever this campaign needs, if I'm the guy he's appointing and removing Lindsey, because he puts everybody in authority in their positions, we're going to do it. And we're winning everywhere we go, all over the state. And the polls are showing our momentum's growing. And Lindsey's attacking me with all kind of stuff because we're the one U.S. Senator candidate that's over the target, and he knows it.
Well, they always say when you start getting the kind of attacks, and you're right, you have been getting blistered
Yes.
That just means you are over the target. I understand that. I've felt that. I'm right there with you. And I want to ask you about that. I'm not interested in anybody's background, because let me tell you, I agree with you, brother, that none of us are perfect. Only one is, and he's not in the screen right now. A lot of things I've done that I would have, if I known then what I know now, I would have done different. And I think we all can say that. But how do you, I know as another politician, I know how I went about it, and I probably didn't do it the right way. But how do you take the blistering attacks day in and day out from one corner of the state to the other and still have that motivated voice that you believe you are going to be successful? How do you do that? In other words, how do you do that?
I think it's well, I don't do anything by myself. I think it's the people all across the state who believe in myself and my wife and our campaign team and our platform. There's thousands of people praying for us, and that's what gives us the courage and boldness and energy and the endurance to keep going. And hey, it gives me a time to tell people about the testimony in my life, because some of what Lindsay's telling that happened 42 years ago is true. I was arrested for a cocaine felony charge, and I had to come to the end of myself. I was saved at 11, Mike, and later in high school and college, I hung out with the wrong crowd, and I got in over my head, and God let me run my free will, run riot, and I was the Lord of my life, and I had to be broken in every way, financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and I came back like a prodigal son story. We all have something like that probably that happened at a turning point in our life. And I had to come back to God and say, help me. And I went to a treatment center, later received a pardon from my felony charges because I wanted to vote again and have a gun and be a citizen in this country. And since then, my wife of now 38 years, we celebrated our 38th anniversary March. And I met her in a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and God's used us in the recovery ministry to free thousands of men and women from the lies of addiction in Christ. So I'm glad Lindsay brought that out, because it's part of our ministry for over 40 years. We've been clean and sober over 40 years, and God's broken the chains of addiction in our family, and our children aren't going through that. They're not going through that stuff like we did. And he's faithful and answered our prayers, and their spouses are awesome. Everybody's saved. And so it's a story of yes, I was a bad person back in 1984. That's not who I am today. And we've helped all these people. Probably 15 to 20% of our staff at our appliance company my father started, I took over in 1985, have come through recovery. We've met them in the Miracle Hill Ministries of the Overcomers programs. Wow. And for men, and renewal for women, because we've teach those 12-step classes that they come to. And it's just an awesome ministry to see families reconcile and get restored back better than they were before they had these problems.
Yeah, I had
and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and people are asking about Lindsay today in 2026, not 1984. 2026, he's showing up to news interviews, slurring his words, drunk, red in the face. And, I'm sorry, but that doesn't match the character South Carolinians want in a high office position as a U.S. Senator. So it's time for change. I'm a deacon in our church. You have to have certain quality character traits to be chosen as a deacon. And that's the kind of character traits that'll help me survive in the swamp in DC.
So let's talk about some of the stuff in DC, some of the things you would be having to do. Do you feel by hearing your testimony there with life, and I get it. I had a preacher up in Anderson one time said, I'm just as screwed up as the next guy. I'm no different, but but I know you can't stay that way. And I can see that with you, that you came through. Is there something as a U.S. Senator that maybe you bring to the table when it comes to fighting addiction or fighting anything along, that route, if you will, that the United States is not doing for its citizens, that you have a fresh look on, that you can bring to the table, that maybe isn't one of the top getting, platform ideas, but you do bring a fresh look on a subject that sometimes gets stopped at the local level, maybe the state level, but usually at the local level.
Well, I mean, in everything I'll do, it's just like the SAVE Act. We're all tired that our senators can't get the SAVE Act passed. I have strong faith, and can't never could. And I know we can do all things through Christ. It's just like our store. We fought the giants in our industry, Sears and Roebuck, Circuit City, H.H. Gregg, all these stores that used to be here, they're not here anymore. We've had them all in our market at the same time, and our company's done nothing but grown through all of that. We're the David facing Goliath, and we beat them every day because we work hard, and we know who our owner is of our company, and the owner of this campaign is God. He owns everything.
Yeah.
And so I know we can get 4 other senators to join me as I lead, and we'll make a motion to vacate John Thune so we can start doing business again and require an ID and proof of citizenship in this country with over 20 million in Italy. Here, we got to know who's voting, or we're going to become a third world country. I know that we can bring justice to the children that were abused at Epstein Island. That's not going to go away. We got to go back further and talk about Benghazi and treasonous things Hillary Clinton and a lot of people did. They need to be arrested, and the rule of law has to return to America. Americans are furious that nobody's getting in trouble for all these heinous, horrible crimes of abuse to our children or treasonous acts in our country. And so I'm a fighter, and we're going to do what's right. This country's worth it. We're celebrating its 250th anniversary. So we made it past the 200-year mark. God's given us 50 more years, where a lot of countries fail at year 200 or so. And we're hanging on, and we've been through a lot of pain with the Biden and Kamala Harris 4 years. And we've all been praying the 2 Chronicles 7:14 prayer to get our own house in order and turn away from our sins and repent, so that our prayers can be heard and our land can be healed. And so God's moving. We're seeing movement all over the state. Good people that have never thought they would run are putting their name in the hat. They're willing to run. And Trump's still in there. We're doing a lot of good stuff, and we've got a short window to get some things back, because we're not a generation away. We're a vote away from losing everything. And so it's time to bring real Republicans that will honor their oath and honor the Republican creed, to defend life. We've got to end abortions. I'm 100% pro-life. Lindsay's for murdering children in the womb up to 15 weeks. That's not pro-life. Lindsay's sending millions of dollars through USAID. The news article came out 4 weeks ago in Breitbart News. $122 million have gone through USAID to NGOs working directly with Al-Qaeda and Hamas since 2007. All that's got to stop. I'm America first. I'm not Mark Lynch first, or like Lindsay first. I'm America first. That means bringing manufacturing back into America, stopping imports from coming in at costs that have 32 cents an hour with abusive working conditions in those countries, taking away American manufacturing and putting all of our industries out of business. It's a national security issue, Mike. We've seen, since 2020, because we don't make anything anymore. And some countries could just tell President Trump, you know what, we're going to ship you nothing. Have a nice day. So no more steel, beef, pharmaceuticals, all the things we don't do anymore. we're very vulnerable, and we've got to get that back home and hire Americans.
Mr. Lynch, what is your opinion of, one of the things that gets talked about once in a while, but not enough, and that's NATO. Do you believe that the United States needs to remain in NATO, or is that something we need to get out of?
I have mixed emotions about that. I know we need to get out of the United Nations. That's not constitutional for us to be a member there. We have our own sovereignty to protect. If the United Nations all of a sudden says all of our countries are going to do away with citizens having guns, we would have to give our guns away. We're not doing that. And, we've got to end the Federal Reserve and get back to the United States Treasury and get our money backed by gold and silver again. That's the way God's economy runs. But NATO, we probably need to get out. I don't think that's such a great thing to be a member of. They're not doing anything. I know we had a lot of NATO forces here, and all we ever hear is they're not going to ever really fight with us. They get into a war conflict with us, say they're helping, and then they run off and hide, and they don't do anything, and we end up taking it all on ourselves. So it's not really a real organization that's helping anything.
Tell me your opinion on, one of the things that scares a lot of people is the threat of global currency and, new world order and that kind of thing. Do you fear that, we are headed towards, or not maybe we, but the world and those that are in that kind of realm are pushing a global currency faster than we are responding to? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I know when Obama was president, they were creating the Amero. They had coins and had paper printed ready to go. And that was going to be Canada, North America, United States and South America. And luckily that never happened. But they were playing with that back then and taking, and God, we trust off of the coins. Like if we went to drink machines and bought a Coke or something, our coins are just pot metal. They don't have silver in them anymore. And in God we trust was taken off, and they had the Amero ready to go. And so we dodged a bullet with that. But we need to protect the American dollar, but unfortunately, as times come towards an end before Jesus comes, it's going to probably get worse, but we got to be salt and light and resist it and carry the gospel of Jesus to the ends of the earth.
Absolutely. If someone, those that are listening, say there's someone who has not been paying attention for the last year or two, and it's just coming to the show, and they said, well, what is different about Mark Lynch than in Lindsey Graham on a Reader's Digest version, because it's a vast difference. But how would you answer that person? What is different about Mark Lynch compared to Lindsey Graham as a senator?
The first interview I ever did was at CPAC over a year ago in DC. And I got asked this question, and I pointed to my wife standing about 15 feet away from the interview with Newsmax or whoever it was. And I said, see that woman over there? That's my wife at that time of 37 years. It's 38 now. Lindsey doesn't know anything about that. He's a childless warmonger, and he looks, we're in our van and it's getting dark out here.
I see that.
Hang on. But, so that's one thing I know about family. I'm a successful businessman. I wasn't a JAG lawyer in the Air Force like Lindsey.
Yep.
And he's been in politics all his life. I've had to raise children. I can show you the fruit in my family's life. Being a deacon in our church, coming through an addiction in 1984, being clean and sober ever since, and being a father to our employees, being their boss, being their pastor, being their counselor at work. I pray for God's will to be done every day in my life, and I can have a to-do list to do, And then sometimes during the day, an employee comes in, their life's in shambles, and I've got to stop what I'm doing. And I'm like, I don't have time for this, is what I'm thinking. And God says, hey, wait a minute. This morning you prayed for thy will to be done. So this is not
That's right.
I need you to help this employee of yours. And so we do it, and it's awesome. And then God gives me the balance of thought, and I'm more productive the whole rest of the day if I took 2.5 hours with an employee and spent quality time in prayer and listening and let them bounce things off of me, and we can go towards amend and help our people. So it's serving. I've served so many people all my life, and we have a wonderful culture in our business. My son's 3rd generation, and he goes to these next gen classes in our buying group we're a member of, where they teach about, taking over your father's business or whatever. And he's doing awesome. And my daughter is awesome. And my son asked me, he said, Dad, what's our culture statement? They were talking about our culture. And we have a very unique culture. And I said, Cole, I've never thought about that. We have a passion statement about our business, not a mission statement. We have a passion statement. So our culture statement, I said, if we had one written down, I said, this would be it. We love Jesus Christ, and we're the Navy SEALs of this industry. We work hard, and we've got to make it happen. And every day is a new day. And we look at that with exuberance and excitement, because God doesn't make a bad day. It's all how we look at it. So I go out every day with energy and passion, and look forward to seeing what God's got in store for me. And, we've done mission work, my wife and I have, all over the world, and praying about this. We believe the next mission trip for us is the swamp in DC. So I go there to serve the people and bring truth back, common sense, God-fearing, Bible-based decisions through the Constitution to bring South Carolinians and Americans back with true, conservative, bold, courageous decisions in the U.S. Senate.
Let me ask you, as we're coming to the end of our time, and I greatly, greatly appreciate you doing this so very late. Have you had the opportunity? And this is something I bet you haven't been asked this, but I know people on the street think like this. Have you had the opportunity to, go to DC and talk to some of the senators that are already there? Are you getting any of the feeling like maybe on the side, they're ready for Lindsay to go home? They're ready for something new. Are you getting that feeling?
Oh, yeah. Everywhere we go. And our polling back in March, Mike, 57% of South Carolinians said they would never, ever vote for Lindsay again. They're done with him because he doesn't do anything he says. He's called a flip-flopper. I don't think that's the right name. He comes to the right during the election season.
Yeah.
But he's a solid Democrat, and his voting record of 43%, lifetime conservative voting record, proves it. He has a constitutional voting record, lifetime, 57%. So that proves who he is. He's not serving the Republican Party, and he's not honoring his oath. I'm 100% pro-life, and our forefathers, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, realized they were endowed by their creator, God, with certain God-given unalienable rights. And the first right is the right to life. And Lindsay says he's pro-life, but he's for murdering babies in the womb up to 15 weeks.
Right.
That's not pro-life. Life conception.
I'm one of those guys that my gut has never steered me wrong. I met Lindsay at a campaign event. It was a private event down here in Bluffton, where I live in the Low Country. When he wanted to run for president, and he had a handful of us come meet him, and for for donors and whatever. If you shake my hand and you have the squeeze of a limp noodle, I can't deal with you.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. If I ever get the chance, Mark, I hope you have a handshake like the staff that you carry, my friend. I thank you for coming on here. I know you're busy. I know it's late. When are you going to be back? Most of our listeners are from Myrtle Beach down to Hilton Head. in the Midlands. We do have a lot in the upstate, but most of them down here. When are you coming back to the Low Country again?
I would have to check our calendar.
Okay. Well, maybe
Monday. So the guy on our campaign, Austin, sitting here holding the laptop. We're going to be there Monday.
You're going to be back in the Hilton Head area on Monday.
Mount Pleasant.
All right. I will look on your campaign site and repost that. Tell, I want to say the fellow that I spoke with was Ben. Is that right?
Yes, Ben Bounds.
Ben, if you would have him send me any of your appearances and so forth, I will post those on all of our sites and the radio channel and all that. Be glad to do that for you. Hope to talk to you again. We're going to have an election night show. Any last thing you'd like to say to the viewers out here why they need to vote for Mark Lynch?
Well, it's an honor for me, and one of the reasons I'm doing this is a friend of mine said, Mark, in the old days when our country was first founded, the community would get together, they would decide who they thought would be the county councilman, the sheriff, the governor, whatever. And so we've checked you out. We know your background. We see the fruit in your life. We know your strong, confident position in life. And we're asking you to do this, And I was like tearing up, and I'm just like, Doug, man, this is guilting me into this thing. And he said, no, you're the guy. We know that you don't compromise. You wouldn't do it for the money. You don't need that. You could retire, but we need you. Please consider it. And so I'm answering the call of the people. And y'all, how can you help? People say, Mark, how can you help us? Call me and tell me how you can help. How we can help you. You help by praying. We win this on our knees. It's spiritual warfare. We win it by taking time. Not everybody has to door knock, but we all have a friend, family, work associates we all know. We can take 30, 45 minutes a night and call A to Z and make sure everybody hears about me, because every vote matters. And,
every vote. You're right.
Yeah. And we've got to get the guy that's been betraying South Carolinians and Americans, stabbing Trump in the back every chance he gets. He acts like he loves him now.
Yeah. Because when you need him, that's when you do that. Right. One of our viewers just chimed in. Beth said that you're going to be Hilton Head Beach and Tennis with the Coastal Conservative Alliance, who we had on here earlier tonight, June 2nd. You'll be here on Hilton Head Island, so everybody put it on your calendar. I'm going to try to get over there, Mark, and shake your hand. Mark Lynch for U.S. Senate, ladies and gentlemen. Check this guy out. This is part of God's army. Thank you, Mark, for coming on the show.
Thank you. God bless you.
Absolutely, sir.
Bringing you the best selection of hits for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right. How about that? This was a great night of guests. I mean, we had Coastal Conservative Alliance. We had Joshua Howard. Mark Lynch for U.S. Senate. Joshua Howard for County Council 5. Mark Lynch for U.S. Senate. And he made a good point. This is a battle. This is a battle we're in, and you need to get right. Next week we're going to be back here, ladies and gentlemen. Join us on 7:00 on Thursday night. Joe Mariano, JoJo Woodward. We're going to have Tom Reitz on. It's going to be a big time. We appreciate everybody. Don't forget to go on to get your little computer out, your little phone there, and scan that QR code, buymeacoffee.com. I want to thank the folks at Sounds Better Now. Give those folks a check out on 843-330-3124 as soon as you can. This is Big Patriot Radio, and good night, everybody. Until next week, be safe and watch your six. Good night.
and then just satisfaction. Push me, and then just high satisfaction. Push me, and then so I can get high satisfaction.
Voices in my head go. I know I should sleep, but the voices in my head go. I know I should sleep, but the voices in my head go. I know I should sleep, but the voices in my head go.